Hello friends, today we are looking into the Oracle Financial Fusion Cloud overview. Let's go to the topics which I'm going to cover today. Firstly, I'll start through overview, giving the which are all applications there in Oracle Financials. Then I'll move into the enterprise structure, basically the concept of enterprise structure into Oracle Cloud applications. It's called at a Fusion Cloud application as well. Then we'll go into the legal entity chart of account structure. Then we are going into the security. Security are the most of the important aspect of all cloud applications. So I will cover those concept of the cloud security implemented in the Oracle product. Then we'll go into the some front-end UI screens of Payable Dashboard, Infolets, work areas, then panel task, a lot of analytics using into Oracle products, then transaction screen, rapid implementation setup will look into high level what Oracle is offering there. Then actually we'll go into the financial offerings, various applications or opt-ins available in the Oracle Cloud. So to start with, Oracle basically come up with this suite. It's already there in e-business suite, but they moved on to the cloud to provide their SaaS-based models, software as a service model. Also, they are having the PaaS as well as AS. PaaS is for the platform services, for platform as a service, and as is the infrastructure as a service. So mainly I'll cover the SaaS product today. So there are different modules into the Oracle Financial Clouds, which are nothing but the general ledger, payable, receivables, payment, cash management, tax, expenses, fixed asset. So these are tightly integrated with each other. General ledger is the heart of any ERP system. You would say that all sub-ledger transactions flowing into general ledgers, which eventually turn up into the financial reportings. So these are also cover few services like starting with financial accounting, which follow all the IFRS and international accounting standards. Then transaction processing, like your invoices, receipts, payments, those all transactions actually these Oracle Cloud applications taking care. Payment delivery, cash reconciliation, these are all automated systems which provide benefit to the end user, and which they can close their periods, right? Month-end periods, quarterly periods, yearly end of the year periods effectively. Then expenses, Oracle Cloud Systems managing employee expenses, which are the tedious tasks, right? So all workflows, approval workflows, and uh, various various important advanced features Oracle come up with this. Then asset managements are the one of the important aspect where actually Oracle Cloud help user or clients to effectively manage their asset, fixed asset. So all these applications comes with all their business intelligence and compliance reporting. I already mentioned IFRS and international all standards. They are mentioning about that compliance. That's a very important aspect of any cloud systems, and also those are accessible on the mobile as well. So this is the one of the important features. So mobility is one of the very important phase, so that applications can be accessed on the multiple devices. So that also features implemented in the Oracle Cloud. Let's move on. We'll go in much deeper. That we start with the enterprise structure. So basically, the highest level of enterprise structure is a vision enterprise, or I just taken a name as a vision because I'm showing you vision instances. So mostly all your employees are tagged to Vision Enterprises under it's the highest level under which you have a different, it's one of the international company where their offices are multiple countries, multiple location. That example I am showing here. So under Vision Enterprise, there are two division, US division and APAC division. These are nothing but a division concept. Actually, it is a layer hierarchical concept here in the enterprise structure, which already had in the Oracle EBs. So earlier business group actually recognized as a Vision Enterprises in EB's version. In Oracle Fusion Cloud, they come up with the enterprise. Then division was not there in the earlier product EBs, but now they introduce into the Oracle Fusion Cloud, so that actually it under one division you can segregate the multiple ledgers. So this, if you see that North PL, it's nothing but your North America primary ledger, South America primary ledger. Under that South America primary ledger, similarly for the APAC division, there are two countries basically covered under the one division, so that it's actually provide the advantage to the higher management to look at the performance at the division level as well as region level also. And under APAC division, there are two primary ledgers. It's the India primary ledger and one of the Australia primary ledger. If you go to the next level, it's the business unit level. This is earlier known as the operating unit. So this is very important aspect, because most of the your business transactions are tagged to the business units. So under North America primary ledgers, there are two business units, New York and California. Then under South primary ledger, there is a Mexico business unit. Similarly for the India primary ledger, there is a Bangalore and Pune business units. Under Australia primarily, there is a Sydney business unit. So these are the all business unit level, all business transactions are mainly the happening, or most of the access controls and transaction control happen at the business unit level. And the that is one of the important aspect. And under that business unit, there is a inventory organizations, like New York is inventory organizations, California, Mexico, then Bangalore, IO, Pune, similarly the Sydney. So one more aspect is that legal entity. So legal entities are as per that country, uh, I would say that jurisdiction. So that is covering at the legal entity concept. We cover into the next slide. So legal entity chart of account structure is nothing but a legal entity is a company. Your companies at company level, it's balancing segment. So it is all your transactions are balances on that legal entity level, which are tagged to the chart of accounts. Your chart of account, nothing but the your combination of balancing segment, cost center, natural account segment and other segments. It's where for the future use, for future one, future. So all these green highlighted boxes are attached to chart of or form a chart of account, and eventually this chart of account link to the ledger. Okay, so ledger is nothing but the combination of calendar, currency, chart of accounts and legal entity. It comes because of balancing segment is tagged to the legal entity. So if you see the overall workflow, your transactions are like invoices, receipt, payments are identified by business unit. So business unit, which we saw that actually in North America, there are two business units, right, which we covered in the earlier slide. And under India, there are two, like Bangalore business units and Pune business unit. Then those are recorded in a sub-ledger. Sub-ledgers are nothing but your payables, receivables, general ledger, which we saw in the first slide, this Fusion Cloud applications. And these sub-ledgers are basically accounting is happening in the sub-ledger accounting method. It's a SLM, sub-ledger accounting method, which is nothing but where actually your accounts are getting derived. It's a combination of rules. You would say that identified your account, so accountant don't need to select each of that accounting level. Like this is chart of accounts, right? So chart of accounts first segments with the company, legal entity, right? Under that the division, under that the your cost center, under that the natural account, then other segment. So this combination basically is derived using subledger accounting method, which is linked to the ledger. So that is overall concept, high level, I would say, about this legal entity and chart of account. Okay, we are going into much deeper in the next few sections, but this is all give to overall high level information, basically which are the important terminology using in the financial cloud, I would say. Let's move on. Then one of the important aspect of the Oracle Cloud applications are the cloud security. Okay, Oracle Cloud security. What we are looking into that basically, these are very secured applications. So that it's because all transactions, financial transactions are very confidential. You cannot actually, and now if you see the scenario outside, without this security aspect, we cannot protect our organization. So there are role-based security concept implemented into the Oracle Cloud, which we will go in much deeper. Okay, then application implementation manager is a one of the role, basically you can say, which using by the when any new project start, that application implementer manager track the progress of that implementation. So initially he assigned the task to the consultant. So next level is the application implementation consultant. As soon as consultant perform that task, actually application implementation manager come to know the progress, how much percentage of setups are completed and how much are remaining. Then IT security manager job is to protect different functionalities by providing the uh, required roles to the on the basis of the types of user. When I'm saying type of user, there are the there are the complete divisions on that user basic. Some of the user only do the only enter the transactions, some of user only review the transactions, some are only approve the transactions according to their categories, basically that IT security manager has to take care of the assigning those roles. Then we'll go into the segment value security rules. It's nothing but at chart of account level, there are different segments like cost center, your natural account is one of the segments. Okay, so division is one of segments. So to protect the values or value set only, you have to apply that security rules, so that when any new user who doesn't have enough privileges to perform that task, that user cannot see that value set. Okay, or if any user particularly want to see the values under that value sets, then security manager has to provide those roles and privileges so that they can use those security values or those values available into the value sets. Why I say value set? It's nothing but the list of those values of cost center. Okay, so maybe for the each country there is one cost center, or under one country also there are different cost centers. How we structured it will go into there when actually we go into the rapid implementation. So that way we will cover there. Okay, then data access set security is nothing but the one BU data. Like under India, there are two business units. Like one is a Bangalore, other one is a Pune. So Pune users or Pune team members should not see the data what Bangalore business unit actually can able to view. So that access control we can maintain at the using data access set security option provided into the Oracle Cloud. Also, we'll cover this in much detail in the next slide. also segment value security will go in detail. Also, there are different role types in Oracle Cloud. So when actually any new user comes and they ask certain functionality, then IT security manager has to assign some job roles to that user. Then only they can perform that duties. Okay. So if like account payable manager, so one of the standard job role in the Oracle Cloud which are using. So that job role actually task is to mainly to review the transactions, approve the transactions. So that kind of functionality that user can able to perform if account payable manager job role assigned to that user. Similarly, the abstract role is nothing but your employee or your manager or your account reviewer or your invoice reviewer is one of abstract role. So it's nothing but all of you would say that it's a combination of job role and duty role. So when I say the duty role, actual privileges are assigned to duty role and duty roles assigned to job role. So job role is nothing but the combination of the different duty roles. Okay. So those similarly for the abstract role as well. And there are aggregate privileges is nothing but actually certain user if need some additional privileges, we can combine those privileges and assign to those users. So that those are the few of the concepts actually in those into the role to implement the role-based security concept. So that way it is very secure access on the Oracle Cloud. Okay. And when you want to assign that any job role, there are seeded job roles. Seeded job roles like account payable managers, those job roles are seeded job role, which you can customize is if you want to uh, custom or modify that job role, you can save it, copy it, and then you can add some certain privileges if you want to add. Instead of using seeded job role as it is and come by or modify it, it's better to first copy it or save as into our requirement and create a new job role, I would say, and assign those required privileges. That is a best practice we should follow. So let's move on. So like I mentioned, segment value security, basically it at the chart of account level where you have different segments like cost center, natural accounts, your division, your legal entity. So you have to basically the create roles for that with that segment value security. So there is a security console uh, under tools into cloud which you can use to create the roles for your security value, and you have to assign those role to user if you see that. So you have to create role and assign the role, but before creating you have to change those value set settings, right? So you have to enable those security. There is a task called manage value set. So you have to go into that task, enable that security. um, uh, it's a check box there. Then you have to create the condition. Certain users, certain value sets should not be there, or certain segments into that value set should not be accessible for so and so user, or combination of those segments should be the required segments. So that kind of code combinations you can able to define using this segment value security. Okay. Then you have to create the policies. Once you create the conditions, there are options to create policies. Okay, using that manage value set page. Okay. Similarly, manage value set page, there is a manage chart of account structure page where you want to deploy, where you need to deploy that flex field. And finally, you have to publish that account hierarchy vision. Okay. So that is the overall process flow when you want to define that segment value security. Okay. That is very important concept that to restrict the user or to enforce the users to enter the correct combinations. Okay. In EBS also this concept was there, and in similarly here actually in cloud it is implemented under segment values security option. Let's move on. Then we go into the data access set security. So if you see this slide, there are a different access setup type and access level. So at the certain, like I mentioned, Bangalore BU data set should be to the view by the balancing segment, primary balancing segment value assigned to that data access set. When I say the data access set, we can assign the data access set at the business unit level, and also we can assign it to the full ledger. So when we assign to full ledger, all users basically attack to that ledger. Like under India ledger, there are two, Bangalore and Pune. So both the locations can access the data access set provided to them. But when we tag to only Bangalore business balancing segment value, then that only Bangalore people can access those data. They cannot access to Pune location. Similarly, the access level are like read only. We have to provide the only read only access. Sometimes like there are different teams. Suppose we have a support team, they want to see the setups, right? But they don't want to, they should not change the setups until it is go through the change management process. So that time only read only access need to be provided to the support team. Also for the implementation team or the development team, we have to provide the read and write access also for few of users who are deploying those changes. So that time we have to provide read and write access also, or employees who need to enter the transaction, those also we have to provide read and write access to create the transactions. Okay, but the implementation user, like we saw that application implementation consultant, that person actually not required to enter the transaction. So that person, we have a separate role assigned there. So also they don't have the data access set privileges. Only they can do the setups. Okay, and they can be assigned the read-only access. For example, actually, if you see this example, access level, read-only, and read and write. So primary balancing segment value is an example that 129 division or business primary balancing segment value assigned to that insurance division. Only read only access given to those employees under that insurance division, but read and write accesses are given to the 100, that 101 and 100, that banks and capital employees. Okay, and actions, what actions they can perform, they can view the journals, view the balances, view and run the reports, insurance division people, but they cannot create or post a journal or view or update balances or view or run report, or view or run reports, both can be done. So you can see that some kind of privileges we can assign to the both the user access level. So it is not mandatory we have to completely divide, make a division on that. We can keep some access combined as well, which are not harmful actually, which are, doesn't have the right access or write any transaction or write any value or update any balances when I'm saying write, okay, or create a transaction. Well, let's move on. So I'm just going to application now. So how this application look like, to give you some product information. If you see this the screen, this is like a front screen, you can say, where you have to enter your implementation. Like I'm using finance implementer, one of the user, and we have to enter the password. okay, instance is down, I think, but I have screens as well. So if you see that this screen it look like this, and once you are logging into this, you can see this vision instance, like the the front screen where are different buttons, like you can search your required functionality. There are different module wise functionality keep sliding into this slider. Like you can see there, order management, supply chain, receivables, supply chain planning, payables. Okay, this home button is there, notification is there, user. If you see, if you click on this user, you can see the different tasks, setup and maintenance, and those kind of tasks you can see under that finance application user. If you click on payable, you can see these different apps like Payable Dashboard, invoices. So these are nothing but giving you a more details, more information about that application, or high level information that how many invoices are there pending from last so and so date. We'll go in detail there in the next slide. So if you see that payable dashboard, there are invoices which are require attention, basically which are the high level criticality. You can say that invoices actually segregated under this section: invoice requiring attention, payment process request. It's nothing but which are the payments in the process now, and when it is pending, right? Stages, then status, action, installment, okay, selected or rejected. All that status you can view in the one screen. Then stop payment. If you want to stop the certain payment, you can do through dashboard. Just you don't need to run through different screens. You just go to dashboard, or user has to go to dashboard and see that. And you can also see the supplier site which are on payment hold. So that site you should come handy actually whenever you need to take some decisions regarding payment of those suppliers and all the stuff, right? So those are the things where the payable dashboard. Then Infolets are basically nothing but overall, it's a similar to payable dashboard, but which gives you idea when you are going into entering the invoices. Or there is an option like in saw you that apps, right? Invoices. If you click on invoices, this Infolets screen start appearing on your screen, where you can see that what calendar you are following, then which are the sub ledgers are open, which are journal amounts are there, AR reconciliation amount, how much there actually there in the AR and GL, right, in AP, all this kind of stuff. Travel cost, how much cost is there, unallocated, and also below that all infolet, these boxes are called infolets, and under that you can see the transactions of that invoices pending from last 7 days, 8 to 14 days, more than 15 days, recent, these are all scanned invoices, any last 24 hours, if any invoices comes in your screen, right? How many are on hold due to validation, how many are hold with the other reason, approval, how much approval is pending, how much prepayments are there, payments are there, all those kind of stuff you can see in the one screen. And you can directly go into the transaction under invoice number, where we can go into the transaction screen as well. The next few slide also I would wanted to show you what all are basically panel task, you can say. Panel task comes when actually you click on those three lines, where actually on that screen, if invoices screen, if you are in invoices screen, if you go to these three boxes are there extreme right side, if you click on first one, that you can see that different tasks like create invoice in spreadsheet, create recurring invoices, manage invoices, apply missing. This is a different invoice related task, accounting task, asset and payable periods. Also there are search utility and analytics. As I mentioned that earlier, actually there's some business analytics are there which you can access through that invoices screen. Once you click on that journal, right, this is an example of journal transaction, what it generally looks like. Just wanted to show you how cloud screen look like. It's if you see that batch header portion are there, generally most of the transaction. If it is invoice, then invoice header are there. This is general journal, the journal batch top level you can see, and their details below. It's a kind of giving you a detail about that. Or you can enter also here and post also batches. If you see there are post option also there, you can save if you want to manually enter the journal. So that transaction screen you can see here in this. Also, I mentioned rapid implementation setup. So this is a one of good feature where earlier versions actually didn't have. So yeah, earlier version used to take a long time for implementation, but here this functionality given by Oracle to create the setups. So you can create your start of account structure, enterprise structure using these templates, readily available template. You have to just define the hierarchy of your organizations and you can upload it. Also, this functionality is very useful when you have it minimize your implementation cycle mainly. You can quickly do it. You can save those rapid implementation templates and use under the different instances. Okay, once you finalize that structure, that way it is very easy to portable and it gives flexibility. You don't need to go through different screens for the setups. It's a one go. It's just a template, Excel template. You have to fill those templates and you can upload. You can just mention upload, all setups get uploaded, and you can start doing your entries or start doing your testing mainly before go live and complete the overall implementation cycle. And these are the all the different um, implemented you can do. When I say users, it's employee users or implementation consultant user, right, different approver users, all those users. And then enterprise structure, you can create bank branches, bank accounts you have to create for payments, tax, different tax levels you have to do. In EBS it was a enterprise EBS tax, right. Here it is a similar concept which come up with a more advanced version of it, and very easily integrating it to that. Ledgers you can create through rapid implementation template, business unit, financial reporting, all different kind of financial reporting you can do, payable and payments, assets, expense reportings, all those tough receivables and payments, which and here so that all transaction you can do using different BDI method, but this rapid implementation only for the setups. Okay, let's move on. So these are the different offerings by in the financials. Just giving overview like a general ledger, different ledger, accounting configurations, all journal sources. Finally, all your transactions turn into the journals, right? So these are the supplier configurations, different because supplier is you can share those supplier and supplier site across different business units. Earlier that functionality was not there in EBs, but cloud come up with this concept. So they come up with this separate module supplier, or separate offering, I would say, that they can use for the supplier and supplier data, payables, different invoices for the payments, then transaction tax, expenses, fixed asset. These are the offering. Okay, and also cash management and banking for the reconciliation purpose. All your payments, invoices need to be reconciled with your bank statements. Those are all offerings are under financial offering and receivables. It's nothing to manage, or you're required to enable the receivables and transactions. All that offerings about regarding the receivable for your collection. Advanced collection is a separate offering in cloud. That is also very important aspect which earlier it didn't have in the earlier versions of that. So that's all. Like come to the end to the this quick overview of what Oracle is offering under their Fusion Financial Cloud applications. Thank you.